Hello, class. So my case study was 4, which was the vignette on, which is English language learners and standards. So there is a problem that ELL students tend to not do so well in science classes. And the reason for that is they have two problems. The first one is to actually understand what the teacher is saying, and the second one is to understand the concept that is being taught. So they have, I guess, twice as much as work as English speakers do. And to help these students be proficient in the scientific practices, there are 5 areas where teachers can support those students. The first one is literacy strategies for all students, language support, discourse strategies, home language support, and home culture support. So the study is on a teacher that has a class of 19, and half of her class is ELL students. And the unit that they were studying focuses on earth sciences, and it shows how the teacher uses these strategies to help overcome the student language barriers, to help the students understand the concept using different models, develop claims, and help them to explain their reasoning with the use of evidence. And this is done in a second grade level class. And so the first example where we see the teacher use a strategy is when what the class had to do or learn was to understand different types of soils and where those soils are found and how those soils are formed. And the first area where the teacher helps students connect to the class is by posting pictures of the different types of soils and labeling them. Labeling the pictures that she has of the soils. And this is an example of language support. So you can connect the picture to the word and understand, just basically learn words how you normally would. The second example would be when the teacher would split her classroom in groups of 3, and each person in the group had their individual specific thing they had to do. So they would all of them would have to contribute to what they're teaching or what they're learning. So the example that was used is each one of them had their own type of soil that they were focused on, and they would learn about their soil, and then they would contribute together to their information to the whole group. So that would this is an example of a discourse strategy where individuals break up and then go back together, and this is also known as the jigsaw strategy. And because every group member has unique vital information for the rest of the team. The next example that is being used is for the literacy development, and for that the teacher used a conceptual web. She would have the students work by themselves collecting different soil and recording the observations that they would see. Not necessarily even teaching them anything, but just having them write what they see and develop different observations and how they could be learned. And to help in that area, the teacher would make a grid and have each student write an observation that they see, so they can learn from each other. And for the next example that is being used is a discussion in the classroom. So students would again break into groups with the teacher would actually break the students into groups with similar language backgrounds, so that the students would have a opportunity to discuss the questions in their home language, possibly. So if there were 3 Spanish speakers in the classroom, she would put them in one group so they can discuss the concept in their own language, would be easier for them to understand. And this is an example of a home language in the classroom support. So they learn the concept in their own home language. And another example of the same thing would be giving out homework in their home language. So they would have so they wouldn't they would skip the process of trying to understand the question. They would go straight into trying to understand the concept. And that is also an example of home language support, but also that connects to the fifth area of home culture support, because having the homework in the home language, the students could ask help from their parents, and they can connect their parents' knowledge to the classroom expectation. So having homework in their own language would help the parents help the students understand what is being asked of them. And that is about the five different areas where student teachers can help the students, ELL students.